Before we get stuck into this week's episode, just want to say a very quick thank you to Alt Cult, Rockstar Finance, Hydra Rehearsal Studios, and Squid Ink Screen Printing for their fantastic support. Now it's on with the show. Welcome to the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Mick.
I'm Tim.
Details at the bottom of the screen as always, so make sure you're following us on all of our social media channels, especially YouTube, to see all the stuff that doesn't make it into our TV episodes every single week. This week is another... We're back to normal. We're actually back to normal. Finally. Yeah, define normal for us, but we're back to our regular format.
Close to normal as you can get.
Yeah, which is probably not very close to normal at all.
It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
We're back to fucked up.
Let's face it, it's going back to normal fucked up.
Yeah, we'll go with that. This week's hot topic is the best support band you've seen and who was headlining. The review pool for tonight consists of Sidewinder from Superheist, The Walking Straight from Envenomed, Bent from Stonefield, Spider Love from Blacklist, the chapters 1 and 2 of the Valium Matrix, as well as Human Target from Thy Art Is Murder. So it's an all-Australian feel tonight. We have a whole lot of stupid stuff like the gig guide and the bin and that coming up later as well. But for now, we're going to kick it off with the clip, aren't we, Mick?
Yeah, apparently we are.
Yeah.
It is I Came for Blood by Death Angel. Enjoy.
This week's hot topic is going to introduce a different format to the hot topic. So I'm going to start a timer in a second because the hot topic for us usually drags on for an hour and a half. So I've decided, like most things, to implement a time limit on these things. So the hot topic is actually going to become a hot topic where we get 1 minute each to talk about our take on this one. So this one's a fun one to start things off with. And this is the best support band you've ever seen and who was the headliner at the time. And Tim, you're going to kick us off. Your time starts now.
Easy answer, Baroness and Lamb of God opening for Metallica. Because, of course it fucking was. It's Baroness and Lamb of God. Closely followed by Fear Factory and The Sword opening for Metallica. Because, of course it was. It's fucking Fear Factory. Like, seriously, Metallica have great supports. Looking forward to Slipknot soon. Special mentions to the Delta Eggs opening for Kasabian. That really made their career.
Okay.
Because they were fucking good. Yeah, Lamb of God. Of course.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple actually.
Yeah.
I saw them in Canada, at the Air Canada Centre, when I was over there for a period of time. That would have been Bullet for My Valentine, the early Bullet for My Valentine, opening up for Iron Maiden.
Wow, okay.
That was really, really fucking cool. I didn't know much about Bullet other than the name. They actually won me as a fan after that gig that night. The other one would be Sebastian Bach opening up for Guns N' Roses, Mark 12, or whatever the fucking lineup it was. 2010, that was really, really cool. They're the two standouts for me. There's been a bunch, but I'll cut it down to 40 seconds and give you an extra 20.
Nice, good. Well, the two you can go. Iron Maiden again. When I saw them in Melbourne a few years ago, their support band was the Raven Age. And like many people in the audience, I didn't know who they were or what they were about, and they won over a big portion of the massive audience that were watching them. Cool. And then they fucked it up because if people went to buy their CD, you had to buy the CD and t-shirt package. You couldn't just buy the CD. So a lot of people were like, yeah, okay, I'll leave that, which was unfortunate. But yeah, they won the crowd over and they had good songs and good energy.
And what have they done since?
Not much.
Okay, no. Just want to clarify.
They fucked up, clearly.
Unfortunate.
The Datsun supporting Metallica, of course. No. Fuck no. That was hilarious, though, for anyone that was actually there. When the Datsuns get booed off stage, it's pretty fucking amazing. Wow. First one for me is going to be the Wolves, who opened for Slipknot on the first ever tour down under, which was also supported by Segregation. The Wolves were hands down the best band on the night. They kicked the crap out of the other two bands, including Slipknot by a long, long way. other one has to be, and this is Motorhead opening for Motley Crue.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing fucking wrong with that. It's like, I can't go wrong with that. Another one would be Alice Cooper opening for Motley Crue recently as well.
Actually,
another
another
the other
reason
way.
why
Motley should have opened for Alice.
Another recent one was Thin Lizzy, Kiss, or Motley and Kiss.
Yeah.
Like, that was fucking, jeez, that was a good one.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's been a few.
there's been quite a few, and we've actually romped in this on the time-wise. So that's it from us. Over to you out there. Let us know your thoughts. What is the best support band you've ever seen, or opening band you've ever seen, and who was headlining at that time that you saw one? Over to you. Superheist with Sidewinder, 9 tracks for 36 minutes, the 4th studio album of the Australian metal band, released May 2019 via Black Mountain Music. Produced by guitarist D.W. Norton, one single has been released in the Riot. This album is the first to have Cy Durrant on bass since 8 Miles High in 2000. This is also the first with Keir Gotcha on guitar and John Sankey on drums, and also has guest appearances from London and Dana Rostvist. There you go.
So they had the comeback, Don't Call It a Comeback album a couple of years ago, Ghost Social Dead. For me, this is a by far superior release to that one. Mm-hmm. The other album sort of felt a little bit like they were hedging their bets and trying to serve a lot of different creative masters and trying to, make everyone happy. This one kind of felt like they were actually had a point to it, and they went out and made an album. For mine, this band is at their best when they're sort of chugging along with sort of big riffs and grooving along, and this had a lot of that. But for mine, the big star is Zeke, as I think he is with most bands that he's in. His vocal performance was fantastic. I think his melodies were quite great on this, which, sometimes he does, a lot of the more rhythmic sort of stuff, but this one was actually good to hear him focus on hitting notes and, going through and picking the right notes for the right songs, and I thought it sounded really good. DW producing it sounds great, as you'd expect with that guy. Overall, I actually really liked this. One of a Kind was my highlight, and I actually gave it an 8 out of 10.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I was a Superheist fan back in the day, so
this does feel different to the early stuff.
The Prize Recruit was where I jumped on in a big way, and then 8 Miles High, I think it was that little EP album sort of thing, and then they sort of did something else with a different singer, and it lost me at that point in time. So I hadn't heard the previous one that you mentioned before this, so for me it was like bridging that gap of 15 years or 10 years.
Oh, that's a big jump.
yeah. Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I thought it started off exactly where 8 Miles High left off. Mm-hmm. The first 2 or 3 tracks were just fucking killers. That's exactly how I want to hear Superheist, and I think that should be their wheelhouse. And just that style, DW just knows how to do it.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said. I thought Zeke's vocals were fantastic. I think he's a good fit for the band.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how that was going to work. I didn't catch any of the shows they did about a year or so ago. That actually does work. Production is flawless. It's fucking great. But after the 3rd song, it starts to lose me. They start to bring in... Well, it starts to go down to electronica dance path almost. Like there's some songs where it's just there's no real instrument at all. I don't think. Like it's just fucking around with computer shit, you know, and that just loses me every time. Yeah. It's one thing to incorporate some of that in your sound, and let's face it, industrial is based around that and just makes it dirtier in a lot of elements,
simplifying it, but
but there's some songs that just don't work. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It did lose me. The first 3 tracks, like I said, are flawless. Production is great. Would have been happy if I could just buy that as a single, because I like hard copies. I'd buy those first 3 tracks without... But I'm not going to buy it as an EP or anything like that. I didn't like it that much. That's how much it rubbed me the wrong way. The Riot, Overlord, and Crush the Crisis with it, which are, I think, the first 3 songs. Yeah. So the rest of it, for me, was forgettable. And
they are the first 3 songs. So there you go.
Yeah.
Now this album for me is a bit of a mixed bag. Goes in a few different directions, and prior to listening to this one, I did go back and listen to what is available on the streaming platforms because I'm not the big Superheist devotee. So I knew of them when they were big in Melbourne and stuff, and that was going back a fair way now. So I knew them then, and I knew the clips that everyone saw and stuff. But then they didn't really grab me then, and this album hasn't grabbed me today. Overall, they're still firmly rooted in the new metal side of things for this. The production heavily accents that, which for me is fine. It's got a big and loud bottom end on it, heavy tones overall. And for all the sort of heavy hitting, this album is pretty well balanced in production. It was very well done. The push and pull of the vocals and where they sit in particular was really well executed. The top end and the guitar tone was really nice and fleshed out the bottom end frequencies of this really well. Not over compressed, it's big, powerful, pretty well balanced, like I said, lyrically loaded. Fuck me, plenty going on in that regard. The lyrics across the board, and there's certainly something to say. Ezekiel Ox never is short of something to say. That's a clear thing, which is a good thing. I like that in a record. I like the statement side of it. That was very cool. My struggles with this, sorry, before I get to that, the vocals, like as we mentioned, like his vocal, when he's hitting notes, fuck, that was good. Like there was some great hooks in this, and some vocal melodies.
Riot, that chorus, hook line in there is flawless.
Fucking amazing. So there was some really good high moments on this record. Where I struggled was on the taste side for me when they start to introduce the rap elements. When it clicks for me, it's really good, but there are other parts where they went too far down the garden path, and that one for me, and it lost me because there were some elements where it was in the songs and work, and there were other parts where it felt like things were being jammed together too much, and it didn't click for me. There's some really nice swinging grooves, some good hooks on it as well. But all of that said, it does try to be too many things at too many times in a cohesive one-listen record for mine. Like I said, some very good highs, some pretty ordinary lows. And the track Shockwave feels like a poor man's rip-off of the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. If you're familiar with that, I'll have to play it to you. Because it's if you hear that song and you hear the main title for Mortal Kombat, you're going to hear exactly what I'm talking about. That's not an original piece there. Breathe feels out of place, as does So We Burn. They didn't fit for me. Like One of a Kind is the different track though, because that blends all the different elements really nice. It even has like a bit of a Fear Factory touch in a moment of it, which is cool. So it's this weird blend of the alternative new metal kind of thing blended in with pop and rap, and it didn't hold me the way I wanted to really, really love it, and I love certain parts of it, but not enough for the whole thing.
Yeah.
When it's on, it's on. When it's not, it's not, and it's not enough there for me.
Yeah, there's too much gap.
Yeah, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I picked Overlord, God Knows, and The Riot. So check it out for yourselves and let us know what you think. Envenomed, The Walking Shred, 12 tracks, 56 minutes, the second album from the Australian metal band released July 2019 by El Puerto Records. Produced by Chris the Melk at Monolith Studios, 2 promo tracks have been released in Metal United and Abandoned Hope. This one comes to us after a lineup change and a bit of a wait with their last EP being released in 2016.
First up, lovely album title.
Now, I figured you would. This is so right up your alley.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great fucking album this is. I love it. The band just gets better and better, what I've heard from them. Heavy, fast killer riffs, awesome songs and great songwriting. So many of these songs are going to get stuck in your head, and that's not just the vocals, it's the guitar riffs and the melodies as well. Really like the vocals on here. They're heavy without having to resort to the growling, so they still get some dynamic out of the singing. Harmonized guitar leads are fucking amazing. I love them. I could listen to them over and over. It's nice that they mix things up a bit. You get the heavy stuff, but then there's also room for a dramatic ballad with the song Fate Closes the Door. And that was a bit of a... That was a really big standout because I hadn't heard anything like that from them before, and they nailed it perfectly. I don't want to say it reminded me of like Fade to Black and Metallica, but it had the same...
You've got the... Yeah.
But it's not like a clone of that song. It's just the same idea of a fresh band slowing it down a little bit and just going for some dark tones.
Yeah.
The cover of Are You Gonna Go My Way, when that came on, I was like, oh fuck, no way, because it's just instantly recognisable.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching the track list when I was going by.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a surprise, and as all good covers, they made it their own, and it was just a bit of fun. 9 out of 10. This was great. The Walking Shred, Fate Closes the Door, Through the Cold, and The Haunting were my standouts.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen these guys before I actually knew them. I saw them live. And they're a fantastic band live. So if you are watching the live scene, the local scene, and you haven't seen them, go and see them. They're a really good band. If you like your straight up metal, this is what it is. Big riffs, big songs, big melodies. some fantastic playing. What I got out of this album was the little things. There's some kick patterns and then little guitar things, and from a playmanship or a musicianship, I really appreciate it. That really caught my ear, and I enjoyed that because that's thought out stuff. That's not winging it. You actually have to go, okay, what are you doing now? I'm going to follow you or whatever, and that stuff is really cool.
I know they spent a lot of time writing these songs and getting them right. Yeah.
You can hear it. You can. There's a lot going on in each song. Like the riffs alone, there's a lot of music in each song. This has everything you want out of a new metal band. Yeah. Because I still find that they're still pretty new. It doesn't break any boundaries. Like a lot of the riffing and stuff is you have heard it before. But the way they do it and the stamp they put on it is what makes it refreshing for me is their energy.
Yeah, that's true. It's very infectious.
It is. Like I said, there's some clever playing between the members and stuff like that. It was really, really good. It is a bit of a longer listen. Like there's a lot of samey songs.
I get what you
mean. If you're not paying attention to it, you feel like you've heard this song before. I would have liked a little bit more variety. Like some of the ballads and stuff, I would have liked another couple of two just
break it up a bit.
Slower, even heavier songs. It's very much a one-paced album for the majority. I think that hurts just a little bit because it does get towards the 1 hour mark, and at the same tempo it becomes a little bit fatiguing. But overall, it's a really, really good album. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
The Dead, Aware, Rebellion, All That Remains, and I loved Are You Gonna Go My Way, because I actually like that as a Lenny Kravitz song.
Yeah, me too.
So, and the way they did it, like you said, they put their stamp on it, and didn't they do horror movie?
Yeah, horror movie as well.
That was a fucking
great cover.
When they do them fucking good.
They do.
I hope they continue that tradition.
Yeah,
because it's a very cool thing that they're doing right now. So good job, boys. Really liked it.
While I'm not completely sold on the artwork itself, the title is very cool. I like this band's more melodic take on sort of thrash metal kind of thing. There's great riffs, great drumming on this. I love the energy. If you like metal, this is one to listen to. It's pretty straightforward. Solid melody and hooks. If anything, Mav on the vocal seems to get better with every release that he's on. He's getting better as the years go by. This is one of the few bands, I think it's the China symbol. It is that weird... It's a weird washy sound of a crash sound.
Like a shim.
Yeah. I don't often like that, but the way it's presented in this, I enjoyed it. It was like, okay, I like it. I get how it's meant to be used, and that's how it sounded good in this setting. It was really cool. The tones across the vocal grade, everything was crisp and clear. The vocals are back a touch for me. It was a good way to drag you in. It makes you pay attention as a listener to the vocals, the lyrics and stuff that's going on, and it makes the rest of the sounds envelop, you're dragging into it. You want to listen to hear the words, and so it's sucking you into the whole 3D mix kind of thing. It's a very cool trick. Monolith, what they do pretty much no wrong. At Monolith, I don't know any bad mixes that have come out of that studio, so well done again, Chris. Tasty solos on this, as you expect for this sort of music. The track order is well thought out as well. I do get the idea of like the pace of the album, but
look, it flows well, but there's a few songs where it needed to
just have something a bit different to kick it up or down
to make them stand out just a bit more. I think.
I think the placement of Fate closes the door in the middle and then the cover toward the end was smart though. It did help to break it up and give a bit of fun to it. I like the balance of the darker themes and feel against the melodies present on this. And the balance between light and shade across the album was really well done. Cover Are You Gonna Go My Way was well done. Every time these guys do a cover, they do it really well, and they insert this bit of cheek to it. There's always a bit of cheek and attitude to their covers, which was really cool and was present on this song as well. If you like melodic metal that's built around riffs, intensity, and fun, then this is going to be for you. This is a great album. Here's hoping we don't have to wait for as long for the next one. Hopefully, this is very cool. 8.5 out of 10. Fate Closes the Door, The Dead, The Haunting, and Rebellion. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Stonefield with Bent, 10 tracks for 33 minutes, the fourth studio album of the Australian rock band, released June 2019 by Flightless Records. Produced by Joe Walker and Stu McKenzie, who I think is in King Gizzard and Wizard, whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's in that. Two promo tracks have been released in Sleep and Dead Alive. This album was recorded in just 5 days while in between tours. Go for it.
I have not heard of this band before, so I
What?
have no idea what to expect. No,
Oh,
never.
wow.
Didn't even know the name. Never seen it anywhere, don't know anything about it. But this is really cool.
Okay.
Atmospheric rock and roll with a focus on songwriting and performances. The songs are very hypnotic and very moody. The shifts in the songs are done very well as well. Great use of keyboards. It fits really well with the guitar, especially when they've got that like wow effect on them, which is pretty cool. It could almost be a soundtrack to a creepy horror movie. It's got sort of the synth on it. Remind me of the early cheap budget Stephen King movies from the early 80s. Probably because I was listening to it at night and I was alone. It's like, yeah.
Alone in the dark.
Yeah. And it kind of the horror movies that relied on the psychological scares rather than the gore and blood. So once again, goes back to the atmospheric stuff. The song 66 was interesting, mostly instrumental, but when the vocalization came in, it was more used as harmonies to build upon the instruments themselves. So it was a good mesh of music and vocalization. That'd sound great on vinyl.
It would, yeah.
It's one of those albums that you put on and just immerse yourself and just listen. Not as background music, but something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Overall, I gave it 7 out of 10. It was a pretty cool band, pretty cool listen. Dead Alive, Route 29, and Woman in 66 were pretty cool.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, for the stoner rock people that may be watching this show, this
It'd
is
be right up their alley.
This is your thing. That's exactly what it's just a stoner rock album. It's from another time. It sounded so 70s. It was just like I'm struggling to think that this is a new release.
Yeah.
It was just the guitar tones, the production, everything just reeked of early mid 70s. And if that's what they're going for, which is kind of what you got to do with stoner rock, then they fucking smashed it out of the park.
Yeah.
It's a home run on that. I don't know much about the band, I must admit. I knew the name, and that was as far. This is the first
When
time
they
hearing
started
them.
off, they were a lot closer to Led Zeppelin than this.
Okay.
And check out Walk Me Through the Clover. That was like their lead single they ever released. Different to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the vocals were very reminiscent of an early Ozzy Osbourne. It's that
on this
eerie,
one,
clean, very high pitched, very on edge, almost not in the right note, but it works. And that's not a gripe. That's just that's a feel thing, and I thought it was really different. I've never been a huge fan of this style, and I can't say this won me over, but I definitely do appreciate it. It's just too one-dimensional for me.
Yeah.
And if you're not into the style, it goes back to Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff. If you don't dig the style, you're never really gonna win me this. Anyway. So the song structures went fantastic, dynamically and all that, moods. It's all fucking there. It's great. I gave it a 5 out of 10 because it's just not. There was nothing that jumped out at me because it's not a style that I dig a lot. And having said that, there's no standouts, but I do appreciate the art of it. And like I said, those people are like Caius and bands like that. If you haven't heard this, you've got to get your ears onto this. Get a copy, buy it. Whatever you do, don't download it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any standouts, but I do appreciate it.
Yep.
So.
That's cool. Well, it's a band of 4 sisters, for those who don't know, from regional New South Wales from memory, and they've come a long way since their debut. That may or may not be a good thing depending on your taste. They've doubled down on the doom or stone rock they were going for in the last release, and they've progressively moved down that path over the last few years. Great performances here. Amy Finley's vocal is fantastic. It always is. Her voice is amazing. The band are in sync. Everything with this is well done. The band can play. They are obviously tight from being on the road and all that sort of stuff as well. The layering, the harmonies, it's all fantastic. The fuzzy tones befit the style of this music. Isn't over compressed. The vocals are back a bit and flow through to the front, which adds to that haunting sort of atmosphere that has been referenced before. It's well layered and mixed all around. I like how the tones are nicely balanced against each other on this release. And the album flow is good for the style of music. If you like retro flavours, you've got plenty of that on this record. It's got that real classic feel and vibe while still sounding fresh and contemporary in the way it's produced. It doesn't sound old, it just sounds like it's old music done today. while it's well written and well performed, it's only going to be for those that really love the genre, I think. For people that don't really get into this style of music, you're going to struggle. For me, it was a one-pace listen, and I was already concerned with that on the last release, and the last release had more peaks and troughs in the album than this one did, so this has gone further down that road for mine. Again, if you love this sort of music, people like Stephen Moore, a long-time fan of our show, he's going to fucking eat this up. You're going to love this. Others, though, who don't like this style of music, it's not going to do anything to change your mind at all. This is not a gateway record into doom or stone rock. This is not one of those. They've settled on a niche, and well done to them for finding the niche and going for what works for them, and I hope it goes really, really well for them. I don't know how, I know there's an audience out there for it, but I'm probably not a part of that audience personally. I can appreciate it, certainly to appreciate the talent on display. I've followed this band from the start, and I've loved everything they've done, but I'll be going back to their earlier works as opposed to going to this release for mine. This one needed a couple of tracks to give it some sort of kick, some diversity, something different to it. The instrumental bits on this, though, were a very nice touch, I will say that. 7 out of 10. Dead Alive and Route 29, my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think.
Hi, welcome to this week's Gig Guide. I'm Jodie.
I'm Andrew, filling in for Nikki still, believe it or not.
No, Nikki 6.
Oh, Nikki 666.
666.
Fine then. Anyway, we've got a gig guide to get through.
Okay. First off, want to say a special thanks to Alt Cult, Rockstar Finance, Hydra Rehearsal Studios and Squid Ink Screen Printing for their support.
Thank you very much, and also make sure you follow all the events online for more information as we go through.
Kicking it off, October the 8th to the 13th, Buck Cherry and Hardcore Superstar are on tour, playing Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane and Sydney with support from Bad Moon Ballin'.
That's cool. Friday, October 11, City Sharps launched their brand new album Beautiful and Insane, and it's a great album too, get on it. At Matthew Flinders Hotel with support from the Fior, Last Apollo and Anthony Sandy.
Saturday, October the 12th, the Rock Pit's 10th anniversary celebration is at the Evelyn Hotel with features Palace of the King, Warbirds, who are launching their new album Order from Chaos, Echo del Tusca, The Silent Deeds, and Delacoma Rio.
Warbirds' album's a cracker, by the way.
Very excited.
I am very excited about that one. Friday, October 25. Ablaze are having a going away gig before jetting off to Europe at Revolver Band Room with support from the Vendettas and Riff Raiders. That's going to be cool. Tickets are available via Ablaze's possible fundraiser campaign.
On Saturday, October the 26th, Red Star Born will be having a special launch gig for their new album Pariah at the Matthew Flinders Hotel, along with Torrential Thrill, who are also launching a new single that night. The Pass Outs and Eat the Damn Orange will also be in attendance.
Yes, we're having some good gigs. And here's another one for you. October 31st to November 2nd, Halloween weekend, Soilwork are touring here, playing Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne with support from Desecrated nationally. Also, from Crisis to Collapse, Flaming Wreckage and Mason will be supporting locally.
Saturday, November the 30th, Espionage are playing at the Evelyn Hotel, where they'll be filming their brand new video along with support from Sabaya, Tyrant and Vicious Addiction.
Yep. From October 5th to December 21st, it's a long tour for the Black Aces, who are launching their new EP Never Change, playing across central and regional locations in Victoria, ACT and New South Wales.
December the 11th to the 15th, Marty Freeman is on tour, playing Sydney, Brisbane, Canberra and 2 shows in Melbourne with support from Trigger, Temptress, Wartooth, Matosphere, Hidden Intent, Demon Head, Espionage and more.
That's pretty bloody good. Speaking of really bloody good though, Saturday, February 1st, 2020, we're getting into next year now, Horsehead are playing a special one-night-only gig at the Corner Hotel to celebrate the release of their Legacy box set. Stay tuned, we'll have more on that in the future as well.
Excellent. Now, as always, lineups and events are subject to change, so keep up to date with those that interest you via Facebook and hit us up via Facebook if there is something that you would like for us to plug for you.
Please do. And again, a special thanks to our sponsors, Alt Cult, Rockstar Finance, Hydra Rehearsal Studios and Squid Ink Screen Printing for their support.
Now going to be going to the Lazies with Half-Mast Blues.
Half-Mast Blues. It's very cool.
Half-Mast Blues. Oh my gosh.
As always, rock up
with your frock on.
Blacklist, Spider Love, 6 tracks, 14 minutes, second EP from the Australian metal band, released June 2019 independently. Produced by Evan Lee at STL Studios. 2 promo tracks have been released in They All Look the Same and Let Go. This is one that Tim wanted us to review. You put it forward. And the band seem to have been making a bit of an impact of late as well, looking through their profile. Go for it.
So, yeah, first of all, these guys opening with Crystal. At the Evelyn. And instantly from the first note, these guys are great. Like, just fat, chunky riffs, and it's awesome. Listening to the EP, though, they have evolved a little bit to incorporate a little bit more of a... I don't want to call it an industrial sound, but they do have that heavily compressed kind of fizziness going on at times as well, which is actually, I think, added a new dimension to them. It probably helps the live show as well, break it up a little bit. Vocally as well is where this really stands out. Dude's got the Corey Taylor vibes happening, and he really flies. It doesn't sound like a cheap imitation either.
No, it's
genuine,
there.
and it goes. It's a 14-minute EP, so like you can chuck this on whenever, and it's gonna fly, and you're gonna repeat it, and it's gonna sound really good. Something Inside of Me is the highlight, and actually gave it a 9.
Wow, cool. All right.
That was only 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was a long listen.
Here we go.
Wow.
Oh, man. It's really hard for me to review these type of albums because this is not the type of metal I like at all.
Random.
Yeah. To be honest, I did find myself enjoying some parts of the songs. The clean vocals and the whispered vocals, they were very cool, but the harsh vocals just aren't my thing. And it just puts me off. It sounds like just every other fucking harsh vocals. Just doesn't do it for me. The energy, it's energetic and it's angry, and I'm sure there's a pissed off message in the lyrics, and fans of this style are going to love it. It's well captured and the performances are tight. Guitar tone is pretty cool. I didn't hate it, and if you like this style, let's definitely give it a listen because it's well done. 7 out of 10. I did like Spider Love, that was cool.
That's higher than I thought you'd give it, actually. Once I saw that you were assigned this one, I just got to listen to it, I'm like, okay, this will be interesting.
Like I said, there were parts.
Alright, cool.
That says a lot, though, if there's parts that you like it.
Yeah, especially considering I know how much you don't like this music, this style of music, generally speaking.
Yeah.
7's
Most
pretty
of the
high score.
vocals that put me off.
Yeah. Intense is the word for this release. This is right up in your face from the start, and it does not let you go at all. Short, sharp, punchy. This has some damn good energy on it. I love the darkness on this. This feels dark when you listen to it, but in the right kind of way. It's very new metal in sound and style. I think fans of Korn, Linkin Park definitely, and to a lesser extent Slipknot and Faith No More will get into this record in a big way. Tight and loud production. The vocals are slightly back and compress that hot fuzzy edge. The guitar is dialed right in. The performances are extremely fucking tight. This is very snap to grid. If you don't like snap to grid music, you're not going to like this one. If you don't mind that, this is going to be very interesting for you. For all of the bottom end and the industrialised new metal kind of thing, they've avoided over compressing it, which is very, very well done. Too many bands fall into that trap of going too loud. They haven't done that. They've left the breadth of air in it, the space, the depth, all those things there, which is very, very cool. Very well produced. You can tell this would be... I haven't seen this band live. I hadn't known anything about them until Tim put it forward. I've heard the name kicking around, but not done anything with it. But you can tell this would be a hell of a lot of fun to watch live. The energy on this EP is definitely there from the live setting. And like, okay, I want to go and see this because it'll be a lot of fun. I'm not going to get in the front of it. Fuck off. But I'm going to watch it and watch everyone else do that. It's going to be really, really cool. I love the composition and how this thing overall pulls no punches. The generic breakdown is not generic on this. That's done very, very well. For all the darkness and aggression, there's an element of fun in this as well. Like, it's very, very intelligent. There's a bit going on in the lyrics, but there's still an element of the energy and the fun. They want people to go to this and get off on it as opposed to only be angry the whole time. There's an element of fun to this. It's got some nice groove and swing on this. It's one of those records where if you're in a pissed off mood, put it on and it'll fix that up for you pretty quickly. Good little venting EP for mine. I like there's even some panning and some hooks in this as well, which was subtle and very well done. It's infectious. If you like it loud and aggressive, but still keeps the melody and all that, like has that groove and swing and swagger, like genuine attitude swagger about it, this is one to check out. I won't be sleeping on this band. I'm going to be checking out a lot more of this now. And I'd like to see these guys gig with 12 Foot Ninja.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool gig. Won't be for everyone, but if you like it on the first pass, this is going to be one that's going to get your attention. If you don't like it on the first pass, it's not going to change your mind on the second. For me, though, very cool. 9 out of 10. I picked Black FM and Something Inside Me as my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. The Valium Matrix, Chapters 1 and 2. This is a combined 10 tracks for 38 minutes. This is the debut from the star-studded three-piece made up of Wayne Dwyer from Volgun, Carl Lee from Nothing Sacred, and Joseph Stanley from Catwitch. This combined with a whole lot of guest appearances as well. They've begun this epic space rock project being released by Blue Freya. It's a concept story written and produced by Wayne Dwyer. This is the beginning of this project, but is currently only available on YouTube. It's going to go eventually for like 2 hours. That's why they've got 2 chapters out so far. Go for it.
So to call this an album is unfair.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of a, I don't know, an audio book with a soundtrack attached to it. I wasn't high enough when I listened to this, so I don't know.
Volmic's putting clear eyes in his.
Yeah, if you've heard this album, you know what I'm talking about. It did feel like, you know, I don't want to say like a movie, but more like a cut scene from a video game.
I get what you mean with that. Yeah.
Kind of dialogue going onto it, you know, where they just want to give you the hint and then you got to play through it. You know, you go through it. Definitely not what I expected, but for what it is, it's not bad.
Okay.
You know, and
wasn't sure how you'd go with this one.
It's not going to be for everyone, but you know, if again, because there's a lot of spoken word going on in here, and if that's going to put you off,
if you don't like books,
then it's going to put you off. But for what it is, it's not bad. But what I do want to say is, this is a ballsy release. You know, it takes a lot of guts to do something like this, and they deserve a lot of credit for that as well. So, give it a 7 out of 10. You know, perhaps not something I'd go back to, but they deserve a lot of credit for it.
Cool. All right.
This was interesting to have to go and listen to, because it's not on Spotify, so we tracked down and it's on YouTube, so it's a different listening process to start with. And I can't just turn my phone off when YouTube's on, it has to be open. So, and it was during the day my kids were playing, so I put on the earpieces. So I'm just like watching it, and it just takes you on this fucking journey, and it's amazing. I fucking loved it. I went into this with no idea what to expect, and like there's parts 1 and 2 on YouTube. Part 1 is 18 minutes, part 2 is 20 minutes, and I'm waiting for part 3. Each one has about 4 songs on it, and it's telling some futuristic story, basically about some crew that's been sent into a black hole. They're on hypersleep, and they make a horrific discovery. I'm not much of a sci-fi guy at all. I like horror. So I lean more towards the Alien franchise rather than fucking Star Wars. So because it leans more towards Alien, where they have the hypersleep, I can kind of get into the story a lot more. So it's the cool side of sci-fi rather than the fucking inner-bred...
Nerdy side?
Yeah, the nerd shit. Musically, it's very hypnotic and atmospheric, and there are some really sets the mood and the scene for the story. There are some crunchy chords and very catchy melodies over them. In between each song, there's some narration to get the story going, and then they take the music and that takes you kind of through to the next chapter. Some of the music might be a little predictable. You can kind of get the chord progression that they're using, but the melodies underneath it more than make up for that.
Yeah, the note choices vocally were interesting in particular.
Yeah, I got that as well. Musically, it reminded me of Porcupine's Fear the Blank Planet album.
Oh, yeah.
And Shadow Gallows Room 5.
Okay.
Some very heavy concept albums. The recording sounds great, and the atmospheric lyric video animation that they've put towards it, it's one of those things you have to watch. It's all a great piece of art that all comes together. Overall, it's a fantastic use of multimedia, music, image, art, storytelling. Hopefully part 3 will be out soon, because like I said, I want to know what happens next. And it's kind of like the use of the old school radio serials that they used to have back in the day. We had to tune in and find out. You know, if they release one of these a month and then release the whole thing as like a DVD or something, it's a cool way of keeping your audience engaged. It's something new. I gave this 9 out of 10. I thought it was fucking awesome. And couldn't pick a standout because it's more a complete piece.
Yeah. Well, it's been covered off. This is a very interesting project. I love the concept of releasing it on the visual platform that is YouTube. It's well thought out. The imagery adds to the experience of listening to this record. It's one of those ones you've got to take in like audio and visual. You don't get many like this. We don't get a lot like this at all here. Narrative tracks mixed with some pretty cool metal, overall melodic metal, space rock kind of stuff. Full-blown concept at play here. Production's pretty good. It's a bit thin, perhaps, but it also could be the way YouTube is compressing things. I'm not going to read too much into it. But it also could be a deliberate ploy to make the music a little more sterile, which suits the space vibe as well. So there's nothing bad in that. It just might be a bit thinner than what I would personally go for, but at the same time, it does make sense within the scope of what they're doing. Music is atmospheric with some nice foley for the narrative. The songs, though, the song parts that break up the narrative, it's almost like the spoken part is the chapter, and then you got like a chorus and then another chapter kind of thing. And the chorus part, those songs, that's all just melodic metal. It's really cool. There's no hooks in this. There's none of that sort of stuff going on here. Every single song and piece of music is different. It's got a great story with music to serve the narrative. If you like things like Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds or Aerion, this is certainly for you. If you don't like those things, probably stay away. I like how the visual stuff guests or highlights who the guest body's playing, because there's a whole heap of guest players on this. I know that Dennis has got a solo coming up on Chapter 3 as well. So he's even gotten involved in the project. So there's a lot going on in that, and they give credit where due to the people playing the piece of music at that time on the visual. And all the performances fit seamlessly well. For how many people are actually involved in this, it all fits together very nicely. Had to sit back and take this one in as a complete piece. It's a very well executed project. I'm keen to see where it all goes. The story has me hooked already after 2 chapters, so it's like, okay, cool, I'm very interested in this. The lyrics are fantastic as well. Check it out, make up your own mind. It's one of those ones where you can't really take someone else's word for it. You're either going to enjoy it or you're not. The one pass will be enough to tell you whether you do or don't. The whole project is apparently going to go for about 2 hours, so get ready to settle in for a serialised release if this is your thing. Very cool, very different. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Out of Space, Out of Time, and Proboscis, which are the 2 most prominent songs in the entire project so far. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Thy Art Is Murder, Human Target, 10 tracks for 38 minutes. This 5th studio album of the Australian metal band, released July 2019 by Nuclear Blast. Produced by Will Putney, recorded at Graphic Nature Audio. 4 promo tracks have been released in New Gods, Make America Hate Again, Death Squad Anthem, and Human Target. The album peaked number 11 here in Australia while charting reasonably well in Europe. This is the band's first album with Jesse Beeler on drums.
Yeah, so I'm generally not really a deathcore guy. But, you know, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Thy Art Is Murder. For mine, this is clearly their best album by a long way.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with they don't really sound like a deathcore band on here. They sound like more of an old school death metal band, which is, you know, a big way to get to me.
It's the way to your heart, isn't it?
It is. Live, first of all, live this band is incredibly entertaining, and I think that really comes across on here as well.
Okay.
The production is fantastic. It sounds like a death metal album should sound like in 2019. You know, it's quite rough and quite dirty, but at the same time, you know, they've used, you know, modern recording techniques to get some nice clarity and so you can actually hear everything that's going on. It's not just a constant wish-wash of sound that's happening. Overall, the songs are really well written. There's a real nice crescendo to it. Everything builds really nicely and falls away when it has to. Breakdowns are, you know, not just a generic thing that happened because they have to happen. They actually build to it and have a purpose for it. Overall, I think it's fantastic. Death Squad Anthem is my highlight. I actually gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice. Wow, okay.
Okay. I've heard of this band, and I didn't think they would be to my musical taste, so I've never listened to them. And listening to this album for this review, I was right. They're not to me. I'm not a fan of death metal. I don't get it. Okay, the vocals in parts are more coherent than a lot of what I've heard in this style. Doesn't mean it's all that easy to listen to, though. The first song, Human Target, had a very cool mellow guitar solo at about the 2-minute mark. I did like that bit. That was cool.
You know you're scraping the barrel.
I'm trying to find things that I can say good things about. I'm sure there's a message or some intention within the lyrics, but I'm just not motivated enough to find out. I'm sure fans of this style will like it. It is recorded well, and you know I don't touch on production all that much, but compared to some of what I've heard in this style,
it's very well produced.
Tim's Torture albums from last year being a good example. This sounds great compared to what I heard before.
Pig Destroyer?
Yeah, fuck me. 5 out of 10, you know, neutral. No standout.
Alright. This is a pretty brutal album from these guys. It's not the most intense thing ever done, but it's up there. It's pretty good in that regard. The trouble for me with albums like these is that you can tell that they have a point that they're trying to make lyrically, but you can't understand enough of the fucking words to get the point of it.
Mm-hmm. Speak for yourselves.
You listen to this shit day in, day out. It's easy once you're acclimatised.
You gotta practice more.
Gotta be motivated to do it.
If you're into this genre, you will be very, very happy with this music. It's very much a death metal album. It fits right in the wheelhouse. And as far as that sort of stuff goes, this is very well done. If you like that style of music, this is certainly one you have to check out, because I think this is one of the best Australian releases I've heard in this style of music. If not ever, then for a very long time. It's impressive in how it's well done. I enjoyed the production a lot. It's not crunched at all. It's pretty clean and clear, which is well done for how crazy this gets at times. It's a lot going on. Some of the blast beats and the drums, usually you get a whole lot of clipping when that's going on. These guys have none of that. They've missed all those bad things that give me the shits on the production with these records, and they've just done it really, really well. They've got some good depth and space on this. The bottom end is really good. They really, like, when they've used the depth and space, they've used drama and used it well on this record to not only sonically, but also in the way things are written. They've done that really well. It's well done. There's not a lot of tricks, so to speak. It's pretty much a point-and-shoot kind of record, but it's all captured, mixed, and presented very, very well. This genre gets my attention in particular when, I know it moves away from, typical death metal, but I like when they use groove and swing more, and this didn't have a lot of that for me. It relied a lot more on pounding you into submission as opposed to taking you along for a ride. That's my take on it. But the intensity is impressive in itself. It's an angry record. Unfortunately, it's not the right kind of record for me, but I can appreciate exactly what they're going for, and I put down here, this is right up Tim's alley, which is why I would have asked for it. I can appreciate it, but it's one of those ones that I'll be appreciating more from the back of the room than from the front of the room. Again, it was 6 out of 10. I picked Eternal Suffering as my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. That's it for this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Details, as always, at the bottom of the screen, so make sure you're following all of our social media channels to stay up to date with us, and also subscribe to YouTube for all the stuff that doesn't make it into our television broadcasts, including extra reviews and other content that we do. At the end of the month, we have our Halloween special now that we're in October, which is Dave's favourite time of the year. It's his Christmas, I believe. And we have a lot more planned interesting stuff for the rest of the year and into next year as well. Now it's time for our favourite part of the week, the bin. So Tim, you're up. What have you got for the bin this week, my friend?
By the time we see this, we could be at war with Iran.
Yeah. Yes. This episode may not even go to air because of that.
Oh, God. What are we doing fighting Saudi Arabia's war for them?
Why are we fighting a war over oil when we have hundreds of thousands of people protesting about renewable energies?
If we had renewable energies, we wouldn't have to go to war, which might be part of the point. Yeah. Complex word.
Recently, it could have been this week or last week, there was a ban in the city. It's now becoming streets or blocks. It was Burke Street, the Flinders Street or something like that. You're not allowed to smoke anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
Periodly. Like that. No. Stop telling people what to do, okay? It hasn't worked when you've put the cigarettes up, 200% in the last fucking 10 years or whatever. Let people live. We all know the effects of alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, whatever. It hasn't worked. I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of being told of what's good for me. I know what's good for me.
Yep.
And if I don't want to do what's exactly good for me, it's my fucking choice, as opposed to everyone else that has a choice to put a cigarette in their mouth or whatever they want to do, okay? It's ridiculous to ban full blocks or whatever the fuck it is. And now we're becoming a communist country or a dictatorship of how you should be able to fucking live your life.
It's very much a nanny state.
Fuck off with that.
Alright, Windsor Smith shoes. For at least the past 25 fucking years,
Who the fuck wears that?
I have been wearing boots.
This guy.
Yeah. I've had about 5 pairs of these fuckers. These are well and truly past their use-by date. But you don't make these anymore. 25 years, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Get something different? Come on! I don't like change.
Snakeskin boots.
Okay, but thankfully I found another company that make things very similar to this, so Windsor Smith, you can fuck off. Because all you make now is fucking hipster slippers, and they are gay.
Yeah.
Hey, we're at Doc Martens. You want to try those?
No, like these, man. Fuck.
All right.
25 years, not changing.
Okay.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah. 5 years, 5 different pairs in 25 years. They
It's
last.
actually not bad.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Fucking good value.
All right, mine. This will be interesting. Actually, I'm wondering how this is going to go. I'm going to put in the bin people who don't like children protesting.
Yeah, it's going to go fine.
Yeah, like what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, you need identification. You've got to be 18.
And for people in politics to sit there and say we want children to be in school instead of protesting, go and fuck off. All right, the biggest rights changes in this country have happened when the youth have mobilised. You talk about Aboriginal rights, talk about women's rights, talk about the Vietnam War, and there's a few other ones along the way too. When we wanted serious social change, it's been driven by the youth getting engaged in it. The reason why the politicians are running scared is because they know that. And while Scott Morrison, as we speak, is off having a nice luxury dinner with Donald Trump and all that sort of stuff, we had 100,000 people in Melbourne alone plus go out and protest. And by the way, the terms of the protest were pretty clear. There were 3 requests they wanted, and they were all pretty fucking reasonable when you actually dig into it. Old politicians that on the fucking have no idea about how history works and how important it is to pay attention to it, in the bin. That's it.
Are you talking teenagers or young kids?
I don't care.
Young kids, I got a problem with because they're just getting their fucking parents' ideas shoved into them. Teenagers, they can think for themselves to a point.
To a point.
To a
But then how are you going to justify where that point begins and ends? That's a
You know,
slippery
if you've got a
slope.
5-year-old kid at the front protesting, it's just because their head's been filled with their parents' ideas.
Yeah, but that 5-year-old kid is really smart.
Yeah, because they're listening to everything their parents say.
It's a particularly gifted kid.
This is going to be a long, fun debate. We're going to do it off of camera. All right, we'll be back again same time next week. Hopefully, we'll all be still here. Until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Mick.
I'm a kid.
Until next week, same time, same place.
Drink up.
Rock on.
Listen to kids.
Save your oil.
Smoke.
Bloopers are coming up right around the corner. Before we get to those, just want to say a very quick thank you to our Patreon supporters, our Funk Dancing for Self-Defense, Eat the Damn Orange, Andrew M, Craig S, Greg B, Kaz B, and Tim C. Thank you for your support. Now enjoy the outtakes. On the opening clip first. Who wants to announce the opening clip? Do you want to do it this time?
Yeah, okay.
All right. All right.
Put me on a spot like that.
I try.
I know.
Ta-da!
Yes.
All right.
I still wasn't prepared, even though you told me.
You got it out. That's the main thing.
This album fucked me off. It started off so good and just went to fucking shit.
All right. You going first, Tim?
Okay.
Yes, you are. Don't go, you're okay, like it's your first time. You know, it works this way.
We've seen it work this way before.
No, we haven't. That's not the format. Timothy, stop that. All right?
All right.
Rebellious in a bad way.
Envenomed?
We
Envenomed.
got Envenomed and I'm out for 2. Cool.
All right, cool. Envenomed, as Jimmy would say.
Fair enough, too.
Well, it's there if you
Put
do it
a-
phonetically.
Yeah. If you do a Jimmy-wise, yeah, if you do a Jimmy on it.
Fuck, we're flying through these. These feel so much shorter, these episodes, by comparison to the... Oh my god!
Kill Lemmy.
You bastard.
Oh my god, you killed Lemmy. You bastard! I'm surprised South Park haven't done that yet.
True.
It's right in their wheelhouse. It's the sort of thing they should be doing.
No, they probably have, to be honest.
I don't think you're going to like it, though.
What gave you that idea?
Oh, just
It's just a hunch.
just a hunch.
Might surprise you.
Nah.
He's not buying that.
Phil Collins copped there.
Take that.
Or did Dave call from Phil Collins?
Oh, those nipples are hard.
First season out.
Which
Phil
was
Collins.
harder, his abs or his nipples?
Nipples, man. I'm actually excited.
It's a bit cold out.
Definitely got some roids in those nipples. Look at that. So,
Take your fucking eyes out.
Jesus.
I did get it on camera too.
You have a new bobblehead to add to the collection.
Because that's what we need, is more bobbleheads. Got two fucking big bastard bobbleheads right here. Don't we, Knucklehead? Da, 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 da.
I'm like, no, it's not half past. No, it's half mask.
Ta-da!
I'll go see my brother now that he's arrived.